What's going on, everybody? My name is Hydros and welcome back to some more My Hero Ultra Impact, and today we're going to take a look at the SR character tier list from the My Hero Ultra Impact Discord server and see what characters you guys should be investing in first, and also which characters you probably don't need to invest in at all. But before we're going to get started with today's video, make sure you guys go down there, click that red subscribe button, click that bell, turn on all those notifications, miss out on any future videos, as well as drop a like down below on today's video if you guys do enjoy. Now, I want to give a huge shout out to the My Hero Ultra Impact Discord server, link to it down in the description down below, as well as Char and the JP veterans over there who have been playing the game since the JP launch are putting this tier list together. You can find the tier list in the Discord server. I've also put that tier list on the My Hero database website, so you guys can see it there as well by going to tips and going to tier list. So there is the UR character one and an SR character one. But again, huge shout outs to them for making this. I just want to go over it here with you guys and give you guys an insight on what characters that you guys probably are going to want to be investing in first versus characters that you probably don't want to invest in at all and waste those materials, right? So here today, we're going to be using this tier list, and let's just kind of briefly go over what this tier list signifies real quick. So according to Char, this is a ranking based on a unit's kit in general and general performance. Hopefully give some guidance onto what to invest in. Make sure to use those unlocking orbs wisely. Yes, you got to make sure to use those orbs wisely. Don't want to waste those. The tier explanations: S. So the S tier is going to be a unit take on a spot in a main team or a strong sub spot on a team without being a detriment. Common S tier mechanics include support for type and tags, healing, strong buffs and debuffs, tanking. S tier SRs usually will have multiple of these factors. So A tier are going to be below the units that are almost S tier, but have something small holding them back, aka it feels like you're using an SR. So B tier is going to be reserved for units with niche uses such as DPS SR units, which are not great, won't age well. Also, you can and often will find uses out of these units. Also, C and D tier, these units could find a use as a last resort for a VE tower boost or to complete certain missions and challenges, even being somewhat generous to C and D tier. I see almost no reason to invest in these units. It was last updated with the K-Mean. As you can see, K-Mean's on here, and also Inasa as well should be on here too. So this is going to be their tier list with these guys right here. Let's just take a look at the first one, this Mineta. I'm going to pull him up. I don't have all of these SRs on the website yet. I am working to update the site to where a lot of these are actually going to have their own pages soon, so just bear with me on that. This first Mineta here is going to be the cooking together Mineta, and his plus ultra is going to be Grape Whip, I do believe. So I think it is Grape Whip. And then it's going to be inflicting 350% damage to a single enemy, low chance to restraint enemy for 1 turn, and reduce enemy attack by 15% for 3 turns. So that restraint plus that reduction of attack, that debuff right there, is going to be really useful. You can also get the enemy attack down and stuff like USJ, VE tower. PvP can come in handy as well, especially for that restraint. So that's going to be good. The first action skill is going to be Grape Rush with a cooldown of 4 turns. Inflict 200% damage to one enemy, reduce enemy attack by 15% for 3 turns. So again, that enemy reduction of the attack, again, could be good for PvP. Again, he can basically find his general use in a variety of situations as S tier, as Char explained there, right? So again, he has a wide variety there that he could be used in. Again, especially VE Tower and USJ, where you can just debuff the boss to heck, right? So his second action skill is going to be cooldown of 5 turns. For 3 turns, reduce enemy attack and speed by 15% for 3 turns. That is a cool mechanic right there. I like that second action skill. Going to be a cooldown of 5 turns, but he's going to be debuffing the enemy speed and attack in PvP, USJ, VE Tower. Again, variety of uses this guy could come in. I think this Mineta is by far one of the best SR units so far that, you know, you really wouldn't think about Mineta being a best SR, but here we are today's, right? So Perverted Desires is his first auto skill. If the team has a female, it's going to fill the plus ultra gauge by 30%. So again, he has a little bit of everything, as you can see. And then his second auto skill is if team has a female, increase critical rate by 15%. So that critical rate is going to be good as well. That's going to come in handy, especially getting those crit rates off in VE Tower and whatnot, right? So again, you're probably going to have a female on your team majority of the time, I would say. You got Nejire, you got Ochaco, you got Momo, and a lot of these SR females are also pretty good also, so that's something to keep in mind. So let's head on over to the first Aizawa here. This is going to be the green Aizawa SR, not the blue one, but the green one. Also, we're gonna go over just the top characters in S tier. We'll go over maybe the A and B and C and D ones maybe in future videos, and they'll do showcases with them just to see how they fare, right? But we're gonna focus on the main tip-top S tier units that you're gonna want to mainly be investing in for your, your box and whatnot. So let's go ahead, go over this Aizawa. So it's gonna be Hunting Kick plus Ultra, cleanse 2 buffs on an enemy, then inflict 450% damage to one enemy with a medium chance to skill seal for 2 turns. So he's gonna seal the skills of an enemy, which is good. He's just like the yellow Aizawa a little bit, right? With also cleansing 2 buffs on an enemy. So if they have like a speed debuff or, a power buff or skill buff, anything like that, they're gonna remove that buff on them. So that's gonna be cool. Now, his first action skill, cooldown of 3 turns, Eraser. Cleanse 2 buffs on enemies. So again, you're removing 2 of those buffs. 3 turn cooldown, boom, you're getting that super quick right back. He's going to reduce enemy speed and crit rate by 20% for 3 turns. Reducing that speed and critical rate is going to be awesome. So again, you're going to basically be wanting to spam this one out because again, it's for 3 turns and it has a cooldown of 3 turns. You're going to basically be popping this off left and right with this Aizawa on that team, reducing that speed and crit rate. That's also can be really useful for something like, PvP where you need to get a little bit faster against that enemy team. So that's really cool. His second action skill, cooldown of 5 turns, inflicting 250% damage to a single enemy, but a high chance to restrain enemy for 1 turn. So you're gonna get that restraint off right there, because a high chance, I mean, you're almost guaranteed to get it off. Still not 100%, but again, you're most likely in majority of situations are probably gonna get that off in a little bit. But his first auto skill at the start of battle, if there's a UA student ally on the team, fill plus ultra gauge by 40%. Again, they're all doing a little bit of everything, right? That's why they're S tier. They're doing a little bit of everything to help, right? Then also, he's going to be buffing green allies or knowledge allies or int allies, whatever you want to call it, the green typing basically, by 20% to their attack. So that is going to be good. You're going to get extra attack power buff off of this Aizawa just from his second action skill, or auto skill rather. And that's going to be really good. This Aizawa, again, can come in handy for that green team. If you have green Todoroki, you have green Nejire, also, not so much Nejire because she's not really a damage dealer, but, green Todoroki, let me see, I'm trying to think of another green unit off the top of my head. We got, I think there's one more that I'm trying to think of. I can't remember off the top of my head, but anyway, Ochaco is one of them. Hawks, there we go. That's what I was trying to remember. Hawks, you're going to buff him a little bit as well. So again, he's going to be buffing all this int types, right? So this next one, that cooking together Bakugo. So let me see where he is at. I have a list right here, by the way. Again, all of this can be found in the MHUI Discord, by the way. So make sure you guys join the MHUI Discord. It's a very useful place. A lot of awesome people in there for global and JP players. Make sure you guys join it. So his plus ultra for this Bakugo, this one right here, he's going to inflict 500% damage to one enemy, low chance to burn the enemy for 3 turns, and then also he's going to decrease the enemy critical rate by 25% for 3 turns. Also, just a quick note, this is all at maximum potential, by the way, I believe. So just keep that in mind. All maximum potential. But still, reducing enemy critical rate gonna be super useful. You get that extra damage that enemy could be getting off on you from criticals. Thankfully, they won't be with this debuff, and also gonna get that burn for a little bit of burn damage along the way. So his first action skill, cooldown of 5 turns, inflicting 250% damage to a single enemy, low chance to burn enemy for 3 turns, but when used in a chain and it succeeds, so as long as this is in a chain and you succeed with the chain, you're gonna reduce the enemy speed by 20% for 3 turns. So again, good for PvP. Again, it can be useful in a variety of modes, right? There's not really, PvP is going to be the one place where speed is where you're focusing on, because you want to be faster than your opponent so you don't get knocked out first, obviously, right? You don't want to lose all your team super quick because your enemy is a lot faster than you. So that Bakugo can be a solid unit to have on your team to then, reduce that enemy speed, get you off a little bit faster, depending if they have a faster team than you. Maybe you're a little bit less invested than they are, but this can help you get that little bit of edge that you need, right? So his first auto skill, second action skill, cooldown of 5 turns. He's going to reduce the enemy attack by 3 turns by 25%, and he's going to fill your plus ultra gauge, or fill his plus ultra gauge by 30%. So decreasing the enemy attack for 3 turns by 25%. Again, super useful, right? That's going to be awesome. At the start of each wave, enemy 25% speed reduction for 3 turns. His first auto skill, immediately when he is sent out, you're reducing the enemy speed by 25% for 3 turns. Then you got his first action skill, reducing speed even further to keep that speed reduction going. So again, super useful. Again, they're gonna be super handy if you need that extra speed edge using this Bakugo. He's super useful. Also, this Bakugo is a blue unit, by the way, so he can be useful on those blue teams as well. So his first auto skill was the speed reduction. And then his second auto skill is going to be at the start of each wave, enemy critical rate reduced by 25% for 3 turns. So that's going to be good also right there, right? So he's going to be reducing that critical rate. Again, getting that, the critical rates can actually, if you get enough of them successfully back to back to back to back, it's a lot more extra damage that you do not want to take. So again, reducing the enemy critical rate is awesome. Again, a lot of these units, as I keep mentioning, these units up here are all going to be like kind of doing a little bit of everything, helping you out, right? So let's take a look at this Momo, by the way. This Momo is a pretty cool unit. She's a green unit. And also she's going to be inflicting 500% damage to one enemy. And then she's going to be increasing all allies attack by 25% for 3 turns. Sorry, by the way, I had to pause for a second. I had something in my nose. But I also zoomed this in a little bit so you can see the characters, right? So Momo inflicting 500% damage to a single enemy, increasing all allies attack for 3 turns by 25%. Super useful, gonna get the extra power buff on your characters. Super useful. So this Momo's first ability is gonna be inflict 200% damage to all enemies. So it's an AoE, 5-turn cooldown, by the way. When used in a 2+ successful skill chain, reduce enemies attack by 15% for 3 turns. So she's gonna be giving allies attack, then also reducing the enemy attacks. That's gonna be good as well. Here's a good one, actually. This is where this Momo is actually a really decent unit to have, because her second action skill, it is a cooldown of 6 turns, a little bit much, but cooldown of 6 turns, and here's why. She's gonna taunt the enemy for 2 turns, but she's also gonna increase her defense for 2 turns. So she's gonna be tanking a little bit of those hits for 2 turns for you, so that way you can not get the focus off of your main units. Maybe let's say you have Bakugo on the field and he's taking a lot of damage and he's like literally 2 hits away. Boom, have Momo throw this taunt up, increasing her defense. She's gonna tank those hits a little bit more and also be able to get that Bakugo to live a little bit longer, right? So that's gonna be extra super useful. So this is also where she comes in handy, to where she's going to be increasing all the int or green type allies max HP by 20%. So her plus Nejire, let's say you have her plus Nejire on the team, Nejire is going to get that extra max HP buff, keeping her alive a lot longer, healing your units and stuff like that. Also giving Nejire's ability to live to reduce the enemy's, I believe it's power, whatever her ability does. But again, she's gonna be increasing all those int type allies max HP, like the green Todoroki, green Hawks, green Ochaco, Nejire, all those, right? That's gonna be super helpful, keep you alive a little bit longer. And then her final auto skill, when taunt is active, she's gonna cut damage taken by 30%. So when she does activate her taunt on her second action skill, she's gonna be increasing her defense, but she's also gonna be having damage cut by 35%. So again, she's gonna be taking those hits for your other characters in case you're in a tight spot. You need, if you don't have Kirishima, like red Kirishima, blue Kirishima, whatever have you, she can be a decent unit to throw on that team to get that taunt support and that damage cut to kind of mitigate the damage on your other teammates, right? So that's going to be super useful to have this Momo. So this first Ochaco here, this one right here, this is going to be the blue Ochaco, the skill Ochaco. So she is going to, again, a lot of these Ochaco poses look super similar, man. I had to like double check to make sure I'm looking at the right ones, but I am looking at the right one. This is the blue one. Her plus ultra attack inflict 500% damage to a single enemy. If enemy has a critical rate debuff, plus 30% critical rate to Ochaco for 3 turns. Again, she can be coupled with whatever, you know, you're decreasing critical rate on your characters or on the opponent's characters, right? Use her with those characters for the debuffs, then use her plus ultra and get that critical rate buff on that Ochaco, right? So that's going to be good. But you don't actually need the other units, because Ochaco on her first action skill is also going to be reducing enemy critical rate by 30% for 3 turns. Cooldown of 4 turns, by the way, for this action skill. And it's going to be inflicting 250% damage to one enemy. So again, she's going to be giving that critical rate reduction to help her plus ultra give herself that extra critical rate buff. And then also her second auto skill, cooldown of 6 turns, by the way. Again, cooldown 6 turns, it is what it is. But she's going to be recovering 25% HP for all your allies. And then plus 30% skill damage for all allies for 3 turns. So you're going to get the extra skill damage buff, plus you're going to be recovering HP, throw this girl right here on a team with Nejire's recovery plus this Ochaco's recovery, you're going to be recovering a crap ton of HP. You can actually throw this on when Nejire's buff runs out. I believe it lasts for whatever turns. Whenever Nejire, her HP recovery does run out, you can then proc Ochaco's to keep up and then keep that HP recovery going for a little bit longer. Then also you're going to be increasing all your allies' skill damage by 30%, getting off the extra little power buff as well, especially if you're running like World Heroes Mission Todoroki. He's going to be doing fire with this Ochaco, especially if you do run her with World Heroes Mission Todoroki. All skill allies or all blue type allies increase attack by 25%. So she's going to be increasing all the blue types, World Heroes Mission Todoroki, Bakugo, whatever have you. Again, she is kind of like you are Momo in a way. She's buffing all blue type allies, right? So again, she's kind of an SR version of the blue Momo you are, but I think this Ochaco is a little bit better than the blue you are Momo. So I would say if you had a choice between this and the Momo, hey, run them both together. Actually, just throw them both on the same team, Momo and her together, given that extra bit of buff to all your allies, all blue type allies especially. Throw her on there. Throw them both on there for all I care. But again, she is a good alternative if you don't use Momo or you can't use Momo for something like VE Tower. Maybe you use Momo in an earlier stage. This girl right here would be a good backup, right? So her final auto skill, when HP is 50% or less, 30% attack, gain grit once only. So whenever her HP drops below 50%, she's going to gain an extra bit of attack buff, and she's going to have grit to where she lives on 1 HP and can't die once only. So that's pretty useful. But again, the blue type ally buff, and then also the critical rate buff and debuff as well for her, and then also the increase to skill damage and HP recovery. Again, super useful. This girl right here, I would say she's like super high up if I had to push her on here. Also, these are all in no specific order, by the way. This is not in a specific order of who's better or worse. This is just a list. Just keep that in mind. This is in no specific order of best to worst. Let's take a look at the next Ochaco, the other one, because there's two of them here. This is the yellow Ochaco. So this is going to be Comet Home Run, inflict 500% damage to a single enemy, and reduce enemy attack by 25% for 1 turn. So this is this one right here. She's going to be reducing the enemy attack on her plus ultra skill. She also recovers 25% HP to all allies, and she also gives 25% attack to all allies. So she's going to be, again, like that other Ochaco, the blue one that we just went over, giving that HP recovery. But on her, and that's a cooldown of 6 turns on that action skill. Her second action skill, cooldown of 5 turns, inflict 250% damage to a single enemy, and then reducing enemy speed by 25% for 3 turns. Again, super useful again in PvP. Can be useful in some of the other modes as well, but again, super useful PvP. Get that extra bit of speed reduction on those enemies. She's going to be increasing all Faith or yellow type allies attack by 20%. So she's going to give them a little bit of buff. And then at the start of each wave, auto heal 20% HP each turn for all allies for 3 turns. So she's also giving an extra little bit of auto heal HP right there for all your allies. So again, extra recovery from her. Again, super useful on teams as well. I would say the blue is a little bit better than yellow. I would say, just saying, I would probably run this one over this one, but that's just me personally. But they're both really solid units, right? Again, all of these characters have amazing versatility in a lot of teams, right? So gonna be finding a lot of good uses for them. So let's take a look at the cooking Kirishima right here, this one right here. So this is a red type unit, by the way. Going to be inflicting 400% damage to a single enemy and reducing enemy attack by 15% for 3 turns on his plus ultra attack. So that's going to be good, reducing the enemy attack. They're not going to be dealing as much damage to you. Then also cooldown of 5 turns on his first action skill, inflict 200% damage to a single enemy, cut damage taken by 20% for all allies for 2 turns. All your allies getting damage cut, taking less damage, longer survivability. Love it, love it, love it. Love it when Kirishima does that, or any character gets damage cut or gives damage cut to allies. It's super awesome. So his second action skill, cooldown of 5 turns as well. He's going to get damage cut by 30% for 2 turns, and he's going to fill plus ultra gauge by 20%. That is strictly for him. So that's cool, going to be useful. He can survive longer, tank a little bit of hits, right? Then he's going to have his first auto skill, red type allies max HP increased by 10%. So you get a little bit of HP on all your red type units. Still not too bad. And then his second auto skill, when you take critical damage, increase attack by 6% up to 30%. So he is a little bit of a buffer, right? He's going to get attack each time he takes critical damage all the way up to 30%, giving him a little bit of a boost there. But again, that's really useful. But again, the damage cut for all the allies is strictly where I like to see. And also the reduction of attack for enemies. That's going to be super awesome. So the next Kirishima, this one right here, this is going to be the yellow Kirishima SR. He is going to inflict 400% damage to a single enemy, cut damage taken by 40% for 2 turns on himself. That is his plus ultra. His first action skill, cooldown of 5 turns, inflict 200% damage to a single enemy, and then inflict an additional 30% damage if the enemy has a critical rate debuff. So, with that blue Ochaco, I believe it was, yes, the blue Ochaco, she reduces enemy critical rate. There's a couple other characters like even URs that reduce critical rate, I do believe, off the top of my head. But again, coupling this Kirishima with something like that blue Ochaco, for instance, Ochaco can then get that extra critical rate debuff, and then this Kirishima can then come in and get that extra critical rate damage, or additional 30% damage if it has a critical rate debuff, this guy right here. So his second action skill taunts enemies for 2 turns, so he's going to be tanking a little bit of hits for you guys. When used in a chain and it succeeds, cut damage taken by 25% for 2 turns. Okay, so again, he's a Kirishima. He's going to be tanking, getting those hits in, keeping your team alive, right? So he's going to increase all 1A student allies attack by 10, and then at the start of each wave, cut damage taken by 20% for 3 turns. Those are his 2 auto skills. So that's going to be good. Again, that 10% attack, wish it was a little higher, but still 10% attack to all 1A student allies, still awesome. Again, these are all super awesome characters that you should be investing in first. All of these S units, invest in all of these guys first. Do these guys specifically. These guys are, I would say, next. These guys, okay, maybe not so much. Just saying. Kami's free. Obviously, you can max her out for free. Aside from the free units in here that are from the USJ or like Kami, whatnot, right? All of these guys that are free, I would say, except for the free ones, don't invest, because obviously the free ones you're going to be able to unlock all their stuff for free. But yeah. All right. So the Jiro, this Jiro right here, this is the yellow SR Jiro. She is going to be inflicting 350% damage to single enemies, low chance of confusing enemy for 2 turns, and reducing enemy attack by 15% for 3 turns. So she's going to be confusing enemies, confusing meaning enemies are going to be attacking either each other, themselves, or you specifically. But you know, they have the chance to attack themselves or the actual teammates themselves. So that's going to be pretty useful if you want to get off that little extra confusion to help you out a little bit. But her first action skill, cooldown of 4 turns, inflict 200% damage to a single enemy, low chance of confusing enemy for 2 turns. Again, low chance, not too awesome, but again, still pretty good for an SR. Reduce enemy critical rate by 15% for 3 turns. Again, reducing enemy critical rate. A lot of these units are doing that. Critical rate matters. If they're getting off critical rate against you, they're doing extra damage to you. We don't want them doing extra damage to our units. We want to reduce that ability specifically. But again, yeah, critical rate reduction 15% for 3 turns on her first action skill. Her second action skill, cooldown of 5 turns, heals 25% HP for 1 ally, and then also fills 1 ally's plus ultra gauge by 15% for that same ally. So they're going to be given 15% plus ultra and healing 25% HP. Again, not too shabby. I like it. And then her first auto skill is going to be filling plus ultra gauge by 10% for all allies. So again, giving the extra plus ultra, giving you the ability to use your plus ultra a lot faster. That's going to be useful again for like USJ VE Tower, where you need to just hammer through these bosses, right? Especially if you just want to power through like VE Tower. You're not too concerned with getting like the points, but you just want to do the event. Again, giving that plus ultra gauge, getting off that attack, getting those massive attacks off a lot quicker, especially going to help you. And then her second auto skill, when HP is 50% or less, auto heal 10% HP for all allies for 3 turns. So she's also going to be healing, which is going to be super good. Now this Mirio, by the way, this Mirio right here, oh my goodness, he is so good. I'm gonna put this on screen. I meant to put this on screen earlier, but let's check out this Mirio, right? It's going to be this one right here. So this red Mirio. Banishing Blow, inflict 500% damage to a single enemy, medium chance to confuse enemy for 2 turns. Again, confusion, they get to attack themselves, their teammates, whatever, or you. Phantom Kick, cooldown of 5 turns, inflict 250% damage to a single enemy. Enemy reducing attack by 25% for 3 turns. So again, reducing the enemy attack there. And then also his second action skill, cooldown of 4 turns, taunting the enemies for 2 turns when used in a chain successfully, increasing his critical rate by 25%. Again, increasing his critical rate, going to be good. And then when taunt is active, he's going to gain damage for 1 hit. So pop this one right here, get that evasion hit active. And then also if unit deals critical damage, that's where that critical rate buff comes in handy. He's going to increase his attack by 7% up to a max of 35%. So again, that critical rate buff is what matters. He's going to trigger that taunt. He's going to trigger this evasion hit. And then also if he crits, he's going to be getting extra critical damage his attack is going to go up by 7% each turn up to 35%. And then at the start of each wave, gain evasion for 1 hit. So literally at the start of battle, gets evasion. And then when HP is 50% or less, plus 25% critical rate. So that is going to be super awesome. This Mirio is a pretty good solid unit. I would 100% recommend investing in this Mirio. Again, super useful. The 2 SR Hawks, and then we have Muscular left. So let's take a look at the Hawks. Where is Mr. Hawks? There we go. So these 2 Hawks. This one right here, we're going to look at the yellow one first, which is this one right here. So he's going to inflict 450% damage to a single enemy. Damage is based on speed. I still don't particularly like this specific part right here, just because I'm not a fan of damage being based on speed, but it is what it is. I kind of wish he would be knocked down just a bit, but let's take a look at his action skills, right? So he's going to cut damage taken by 30% for all allies for 2 turns and gain evasion for 1 hit. So again, this is why he is in the S tier, right? He's going to give your allies that damage cut. And then also inflict 200% damage to all enemies, and then also increasing speed of all allies by 15% for 3 turns. So again, this is why he's S tier. He's going to be giving allies damage cut and then some speed buff, right? So that's super heavily useful. Then also at the start of each wave, increase speed by 30%, deals heavy damage for 3 turns. So I believe heavy damage is when HP, like the higher HP, the more damage you do, something like that. I think that's what it is. There's 2 of them, heavy and something else. I can't remember what it's called. There's so many names for these things, but either way, his second auto skill is going to be pro hero allies increase attack by 25%, excluding himself. So you could run this guy with like yellow Aizawa. This might be good for him. That way Aizawa can get that little bit of extra attack buff. You know, maybe red All Might, stuff like that, right? So let's take a look at the next Hawks. This one right here, the purple one. He's going to also be inflicting 400% damage to a single enemy. Skill damage increase based on speed. Reduce action skill cooldown by 2. So he's going to be reducing his action skill cooldown by 2. As you can see, he's got a 5 turn and a 4 turn right here. So his first action skill, his first action skill cooldown of 5 turns, inflict 250% damage to 1 enemy and gain double tap. So double tap means he's going to basically do 2 normal attacks in 1 turn. So that's what that means, and that's going to last for 3 turns. So his second action skill is going to be cooldown of 4 turns, fill ally plus ultra gauge by 30%, and then ally plus ultra damage plus 30%. So you're going to get that extra plus ultra gauge, and then you're going to get the extra plus ultra damage. You could then actually target one specific ally that you want to target, especially one that does a lot of damage, that has their plus ultra almost ready to go. Use this Hawk's ability, boom, your ally is going to have that extra plus ultra gauge rise up. You're going to have their plus ultra in that next turn probably, pop it off, and then also they have that extra plus ultra damage, right? So all League of Villain allies plus 25% attack. This is where this Hawk's versatility kind of comes in. This guy buffs League of Villains. Run this guy with Shigaraki purple, red, and even All for One on the team, and also any of the other League of Villain units like Toga. This guy is going to be buffing those guys by 25% attack. That's super useful. A villain buff is very good. Again, I really wish we had another villain character, but Hawks will do because, you know, he's doing that double agent stuff, right? When HP is 50% or less, all allies gain evasion for 1 hit once only, and then fills plus ultra gauge by 30% once only. So again, after that once only, this is pretty much irrelevant, but again, that's still super useful to get that evasion for 1 hit. Basically, you're gonna never take damage for that one specific hit. Then also, increasing the plus ultra gauge by 30%, gonna be super useful also. And then the final character you're gonna want to invest in is the SR Muscular, which this guy is also pretty insane, right? So he is a red type unit. He's gonna inflict 350% damage to a single enemy, low chance to make the enemy bleed for 3 turns, so that extra bit of damage as time goes on. And then also he's gonna increase attack by 30% for 3 turns to himself. So again, that's gonna be awesome for him. Then his first action skill cooldown of 4 turns. He's gonna inflict 200% damage to 1 enemy, and he's gonna increase his attack again by 25% for 3 turns. So let's take a look at his second action skill. Let's have some fun. Cooldown of 6 turns. He taunts for 2 turns and cuts damage taken by 20% for 2 turns. So this guy is not only gonna help tank a little bit, he's gonna take some hits for you, but he's gonna be dealing a little bit of damage because he's giving himself that extra attack boost as well. So that's gonna be super awesome. His first auto skill, at the start of battle, give yourself a 2-hit barrier. So he's gonna have a barrier for 2 hits basically. And then each time this unit is attacked and takes critical damage, he's gonna increase his critical rate by 5% for a maximum of 25%. That is nice. But this is where he goes ham. Every time he is attacked, he gets an extra 5% to attack, up to 25%. So you're getting a 25% boost here, a crit rate boost here of 25% max. He's gonna be taunting and taking damage cut and not be and he's gonna be tanking some hits a little bit. Then he's gonna have that attack buff plus the critical rate buff, probably do a good bit of damage here, plus his attack again for 3 turns. While in that 3 turns, proc this plus ultra, he's gonna inflict 350 plus that 25% plus the 25 plus that extra critical rate. Man, that muscular, this is a good unit, man. I recommend using him if you need him for a red unit or just a villain unit as well. He's very, very good and very useful. Recommend investing in him as well. So that is going to be this video here today. I just wanted to go over the top S tier units, what they do, and those units you're going to want to be investing in. Again, this is going to be the tier list. You can check it out on the database website or check out the MHA Ultra Impact Discord. Links to all that stuff will be down in the description down below. But these right here, these are going to be your top tier units right here that you're going to want to be investing in first for SR characters. So again, these S tier units, again, thanks to Char, thanks to MHA Ultra Impact Discord server for putting this list together. Again, I recommend using all of these S tier units, investing in those first, getting those ready to go. Invest in probably some of these next, but these are going to be your main go-to first characters that you're going to have a lot of versatility with, that you're going to be having more uses, a majority of events and teams, right? So again, these units are going to be the ones that you want to go for first. Let me know your thoughts and questions down in the comments down below. Again, I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a fantastic day.